Hi, Asha.
Hi.
Would you share with us how we got to journey together? How did you discover the work on healing PSD,
Mm.
and how
And
did
how
this
did
journey
this journey
begin?
begin? Well, I read your amazing book, and from the very first chapter, it really spoke to me. I could just almost feel, I could feel my experiences with PSD coming forward right away, and I could identify them. And as I went deeper and I started following you and just learning more about your work, I could feel the sort of the need and desire in me to heal through many of the things you spoke about in your book and to go further and to go deeper so that I could experience more pleasure in my own life.
Hmm. What were some of the things that you were noticing as this frame of PSD came in and you were looking through that lens? What uh, did you begin to see in your life that gave you that impetus to go forward and heal? What was going on that needed shifting?
Mm. For me, it was the identification of how anxiety was showing up and how I was reflecting. I would feel anxious when I would be comparing myself. So it would be the not good enoughs, I'm not doing enough as well, would come up often, and that I have to try really hard. Like I'm not trying hard enough. Now, this also came up during a time where we're in like this COVID time right now. So it was like it got really, really loud because my
Mm.
life changed because I had less time and less space. So it's like everything came up really strongly and it was in my face. But I'd say the biggest sort of recordings in my mind where you're not doing enough, you are not enough, that person's better than you or they're doing it better than you, and you have to try harder. So that would always cause anxiety in me. And then I knew I had to do some work around it.
Mm. Yeah. How was it affecting how you were showing up or not showing up in your personal life, in your business? You are a visible woman, a leader. How was that playing out?
I think it plays out in not allowing myself to rest. It just feels like not truly listening when I am tired and feeling like I have to show up anyways, even if I'm really not feeling it. So I think maybe a lack of integrity with my own self and how I'm feeling and if I have the energy to even show up in that way. So it was showing up that way. And then also, I think I've been holding back my true essence. So I try to connect with my authentic self, but I realized how many layers were of trauma were covering me and were holding me back in fear of criticism and in fear of people probably not liking me because I'm a people pleaser. So all of that stuff was really up for me before I joined your program, and I feel like it's unraveling doing this work in
Mm.
really huge ways so that I can come back to my truthful truth in the most powerful way.
And what a gift to the world that is.
Thank
As you're unraveling this, thank you for doing this big, big work. And what you mentioned before about this pandemic time, the stress, the collective stress that we've been experiencing really brought things to the surface, really intensified things. So um, at the time that our viewer right now is watching this, we may still be in it or we may be out of it. But I want to say that um, for this woman watching, then you maybe are going through a stressful period in your life right now and things are coming up, and this is a blessing. I know it's hard to see it as a blessing, but when that crisis or upheaval or rupture is happening in your life, it is a golden opportunity, because everything that the traumas, everything, the bondage that used to be in our subconscious is now being made conscious. Some things like anxiety spiking or uh, not having energy or having more self-doubt, that's actually a blessing if you use this opportunity to heal. They're coming up to be harvested. They're coming up to be healed and transformed. Thank you so much for giving us a sense of that, Asha, that invitation, what that felt like for you. Um, and once you got on the journey, can you share us what some of your discoveries have been? Discoveries, shifts, um, possibilities that you started uncovering within yourself.
Yes. My journey has been doing a lot of work around my ancestral history and colonization. And I realized how much of this trauma collectively and ancestrally that I can let go of, that I don't have to carry through the tools that you've offered. So that has been a huge realization. And I think throughout my life, I've really felt like I was responsible somehow for carrying that, which I think a lot of women do in so many ways. So if that's not your story, I think that is applicable to all women, truly, that we carry things that we're not meant to be carrying, and that we can have tools to allow us to be free of those things. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that some exciting opportunities have come my way through doing this work in a relatively short period of time. There are opportunities that I am positive have come from working with your program. I just know that it wouldn't have been possible without it. So there's magic. There's magic that's touching my life. And the diving deep part might feel scary, but it's so worth it.
Mm, I'm so excited to hear that, Asha. What gives you that sense of that this is related? This is related to the healing work you've been doing, the opportunities coming into your life.
I think because they are visions and dreams that I've had for a long time, and there's almost a feeling of trust and lightness when they come my way. Like I deserve them. I almost feel like I deserve this. Like, so it's a worthiness piece that's shifted, me opening it back to myself to say, I'm worthy of this. It's happening and I deserve it. So there's something about that pleasure piece that's really taken space in my life.
Worthiness. I deserve it. Pleasure. Ooh. How is your experience of this in your body, in your daily life, in your mind, different now from a few weeks ago? We've only been journeying together for 4 weeks or so, yes?
Yes, not that long. In my, I think because now that I have tools to meet the wounds with right away, it's like,
Mm.
and they're very practical, easy to use tools. So I think, I have done a lot of healing work in my life. I have a lot of tools, but I've been treating these tools as ceremony. I've been treating these tools as a sacred practice to do as soon as I notice something come into my energy field or into my body. I'm being really conscious and aware to work with them as soon as I can. I have 2 little kids too, so I'm sharing this and saying I've got a toddler running around and needs, right? So sometimes it's not possible to do, but I try to do what I can in those moments and it still works. I think that it's like the commitment to doing these as a practice. All of the little practices end up being this magical unfolding. So if there's a woman out there that feels like I don't have time to do this, I'm still running a full-time business. I have 2 little ones running around. They're home all the time, and I still have found the time to, if I have to run into the shower to do them, or run into a closet and shut the door, or whatever for a couple of minutes, I do. And I think it's just really accessible.
That's so beautiful. I'm so glad to hear that tools are easy to use, and even with so many competing demands on your time, you're able to weave them into your daily life. This is really precious for me to hear. Part of my big shame on the journey when I started exploring meditation, mindfulness, yoga was my kind of opened the gateways for me into mind body work. But I always felt like, oh my gosh, like I am failing or I'm not doing enough because I can't sit and meditate for 40 minutes, like morning and evening, like um, it's not happening in my life. And so a part of my mission is really making these tools accessible for women, um, and yeah, we can talk about patriarchal bias and a lot of spiritual systems some other time, right? That is just something for consideration. Hopefully, if somebody is watching who have been like I used to feel about myself, like failing on a spiritual journey because I was failing at meditating. Hopefully that gives you a sense of maybe there is a different way that's better suited to your real life needs
Yes,
and opportunities.
definitely. Well, you've done a great job at it because it's worked for me.
I'm so honored. And knowing the beautiful medicine that you bring to the world, we just had this expansive conversation before we started recording. And so this is so present for me, the sense of the bigness of what you bring to the world. How do you feel this work has been, is, will be supporting you on your mission?
Mm, that's a huge question. I can just feel that all. It's like there's so much. I feel like I'm going to be showing up in a rebirth type of way. I feel like, first of all, one of my soul missions is to help bring healing to the generations past and my descendants and the 7 generations to come. So I feel that I'm doing this work in a very powerful way and I can see the ripples happening. I can actually feel that in my whole soul. So that feels so powerful to me. And I know now that I'm showing up in this way, that the ripples energetically, because I work in an energy field, that the ripples are starting to be felt by those that I serve. And I think that modeling that just helps everyone to be able to rise into their greatness and their mission and all of those things. So it's almost just amplifying what I know my soul was here to do. It's just now the ripples are just getting greater. So
Mm,
I trust that.
mm. I see that too, and I celebrate that. And this is what I see with women getting on this journey. There is also that recognition. I am doing it not only for myself, which is very important in and of itself. I am doing it for those generations who have come before me, who will come after me, and everyone around me, my family, and those I serve in my work in the world. And it's delightful. It just gives me so much joy knowing that your expansion, the expansion of the beautiful work in the world that you do, is being supported by this healing work. It's one of the strands that is present in the tapestry of your healing, um, healing. I don't know what to call it, wisdom, tradition, healing, the word that's escaping.
Thank you. And that's something when you say support, that's something that I feel like it almost feels like a new place to stand upon, like a new part of the earth. That's something. And I think that that's what I can say. Like if anyone's wondering about taking this, it's like it brings that rootedness and that solid energy to you, so that you can really birth what you're wanting to birth in your life. So that is like that's how I've experienced it in my own way, and it's
Mhm.
very powerful. So if you're questioning that and you're feeling like you need some more like of that rooted solid energy to support you, this is it.
Ooh, thank you. Can you share with us what in the container of the program, the Thriving Solution, has been serving to accomplish that for you? What active ingredients, the community, the practices, the calls, what was your experience in these structures, and how have they, what has been helpful?
I really love the practices. Like I love learning the practices, and I read through them. I mean, I read through some of them in your book, but it was I'm a person that needs to have somebody kind of show me and be in a community that's doing it together. So I think taking it to the next level for me was really powerful, because reading the book is the first step, but this is just like the action part, and action is really important to my
Yeah.
growth and how I show up in the world. So that was really powerful. Attending the live calls for me was really powerful, just to feel the energy of a community of women also doing this work at the same time. I did join a little bit later, so it was a little bit of a different experience, and feeling like, just getting to know everyone in a different way, and
Mhm.
feeling courageous to just show up anyways and just trust that the process would unfold for me how it needed to, and it did.
Mhm.
So I'd say that those were the two things that just, also the space holding that you, and your partner offer is just so magical. So the space holding for me was very powerful and potent, and done in a way that, I just really felt like it was very like high level. Like that's the only word I can put to it. But you could just tell that you're a experienced space holder, and that meant a lot to me. It
Mhm.
felt very, very safe, like a very safe container.
Thank you. That means a lot to me to know. Thank you. This is precious. Is there anything you'd like to say to yourself a few weeks ago when you were getting on this journey, exploring, playing with the possibility of stepping onto this path, but perhaps not yet having made that commitment, deliberating? There are a lot of things that come into consideration, of course, always. Yes, time, money, other things, energy, and doubts, different doubts come up for us. Can I do it? Is this the right thing? So is there anything from your experience that you carry now that you want to put in the message to yourself from a few weeks ago?
Of course. I would love to remind myself that when I do commit to something, and I have that, and I show up in however I can, because I don't want to ever put pressure on myself to show up perfectly. But if I show up and meet the energy, then magic happens. That's always been the case. And also the power of making the commitment and being in the energy. Sometimes we don't know why we show up for something or sign up for something. We just know that our spirit or our soul is guiding us to do that. And we don't, to not be attached to the outcome, because the outcomes can be just like millionfold, right? There can be all these directions. So just remembering, I think, that if my heart's drawing me and saying, you need to do this, to listen to that, because in the past it's always shown up that I've had magical experiences from it. And it may not be the outcome that you're attached to at the beginning, but to be open, just to be open to all possibilities showing up. And those doubts always come up, the money, the time, especially during this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can say, like, doing this work opens up more possibilities. So even if you're feeling kind of scared or fearful, more love comes in doing this work. So just to trust that love's going to meet you.
Ooh, I got goosebumps through my whole body. Thank you for this message. I think this message is always timely, and we always need these reminders. I'm going to be re-listening to this message for my own reminders, knowing that love will meet us when we connect with our desire and commit.
Yes.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asha. It's been such a privilege. I know that the journey continues. I'm so honored to be on it together, and it's truly a pleasure changing the world with you.
Thank you for everything. I'm so grateful.